I'm Shane Delia, and welcome to my brand new spice journey. Over the years, I've found inspiration cooking in kitchens all over the Middle East and Mediterranean. Now I'm searching here in Morocco. Morocco and Spain are separated by just 14 kilometres of water. And it was here, 1,300 years ago, that medieval Muslims from Africa crossed into Europe, bringing with them their culture and their cuisine. Beautiful. We call this cuisine Moorish, an amazing mix of Middle Eastern and European flavours. Oh, yeah. I'm going to travel through Morocco, seeking out the original flavours and techniques of this multicultural country. So you're going to warm it on the lid and then crush it in your hands? Really? That's a secret I didn't know. And just like the Moors, I'm going to cross the straits into Andalusia and Europe. That's a really good dish. You know, I'm in love with hummus, so anything that hummus in. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thanks. My challenge is to take these classic dishes and reinvent them for my own restaurant. Ah, perfect. So come with me on a chef's tour like no other. Come with me on a Moorish spice journey. Order in. Welcome to Morocco. Behind me is the city of Fez. It's got over 1,200 years of food culture. And if that doesn't make it the perfect spot to start my spice journey, I don't know what is. I'm up in the north of Morocco, close to both Spain and neighbouring Algeria. I'm spending the whole week in Fez, one of the 4 main royal cities that was part of a vast Muslim civilization that spread across 2 continents. In the 8th century AD, Arabs from the Middle East arrived in Morocco, bringing with them a new religion called Islam. This was the foundation for a civilization that spread all the way to the borders of France. And Fez's strategic location saw it evolve to become a major centre of culture. All right, I'm going to try to explain to you the madness that's the Medina. There's heaps going on in here. There's kids with donkeys, there's carts being pushed, street-side vendors, and hordes of tourists every way you look. The Moorish Empire was a collection of warring dynasties, and Fez was a prize jewel to be fought over. As both a holy city and a seat of Arab learning, Fez continues to uphold its traditional ways. In fact, the leather souk is home to the oldest tannery in the world. Just like my ancestral home of Malta, this place has been ruled by all the usual players, Romans, Arabs, Phoenicians, but it's the Berbers who really own this land. They don't really like to be called Berbers anymore. They like to be called Amazigh, because Berber refers to barbarians, and Amazigh means free people. A classic Amazigh dish that's really popular in Fez for breakfast is a fava bean-based soup topped with olive oil called basara. I think this is the spot. I would love to find a new soup recipe for my restaurant, and I think basara might just be the ticket. Getting pushed around like crazy in here. Talk about a busy corner shop. A little bit of cumin, paprika. Ugh. Just think I'll get out of the way. You don't get many corner shops like this back home where people are lining up to get into. I even get the guys sticking up for me. Half my breakfast is on the floor. Put it there? No worries, thanks. The fava beans at the bottom are really earthy, and the olive oil that they pour over the top really lifts it and makes it a bit more fruity. And that bread, it's a killer. You know, just thinking about that basara, it's a great dish with lots going on. Really earthy, and once you've got the oil and the spice in there, it really comes alive. But without the spice and the oil, the fava, not the best thing to smell or eat, I reckon. With a bit of love, I reckon I can help it out. I've worked out how I'm going to put my spin on that basara. Main thing is I'm going to swap out the fava beans for some lima. celery, garlic, and onion, finely diced up, all in the pan. And once you start to get that sizzle, in with the lima beans, which have just been soaked. Some water. I'm gonna leave that simmer, and while that's cooking, about 15 minutes, I'm gonna get on the carrots. The carrot tops are really intense carrot flavour. So what I've done is I've given them a bit of a wash and just deep fried them really quickly, hit them with some salt and cumin, and that's gonna be a nice garnish to finish the dish off with. The carrots need to be blanched in salted water for a minute or two, then refreshed in my sweetened lemon water. My soup mix has been simmering away, and now all it needs is a quick blitz. What's great about this soup, you've got that really sort of soft, velvety, creamy texture without actually having any cream in there. Those lima beans really work a treat. And this is where I'm going to start to add some of the spices that were all over the top of the traditional basara. Don't get me wrong, I love the original, but I wanted to add a bit of texture and crunch, so I'm frying the carrot with some almonds before adding some cumin, paprika and salt, and I have one secret weapon that will take it to the next level, some fresh scallops. Just really, really quick, and straight out. It's time to plate it up. You just want to get a little bit of carrot, some scallop, a bit of almond, a nice pile in the middle, some of those gorgeous fried up carrot tops, and the best bit, the soup. I'm just going to pour that all around the outside. I don't want to cover the scallops and the carrots because it looks great, nice and fresh, lots of colour. Quick burst of flavour with some raw spice, and job done. That's a lot different to what we saw in the souk. I was getting pushed around left to right, and it was really rough and rustic. That really looks good, and I bet it's going to taste even better. What better place to seek inspiration for new dishes than the medieval alleyways of Fez in Morocco? Here, most culinary methods are still done by hand, and it's these skills that I'm hoping to learn. And here I find myself again, my nemesis. This pastry is all over the Middle East, and we've got a bit of a love-hate relationship. I love it, and it hates me, because every time I cook it, I tear it apart and look like an idiot. It's always the things that look easy that end up being really hard. Trid is very similar to Tunisian brick pastry and almost identical to that used in Chinese spring rolls. Fawzia is an absolute master at it.
Chef, come on.
You want me to get in there? This is where it all starts to turn into the hate part of the relationship. I liked it better when it was just love. She's having a laugh. She knows I'm going to stuff it up before I even give it a go.
Really good.
All right, we'll give it a go.
أهلاً وسهلاً ومرحباً.
Ta-da! All right.
يلا.
All right, okay, give me a go.
هنا.
No, around.
Oh, no. Oh.
I always stuff it up. I don't think I've ever been able to do it properly.
No.
Okay. I was going the wrong way.
Okay.
All right, I get it. So you're very good at this, huh?
Bravo.
Yeah, I got it. I learned from the master. I don't know if she's going to be able to sell the ones that I made, but I feel pretty good about it. This Trid pastry is the base for a very interesting dish, rafisa. Thanks a lot. I've been invited to a restaurant in Riyadh to learn the recipe for this iconic Fez dish. Over the years, Fez has become a real hotspot for tourists from all over the world, and the Medina's filled with riads. Some of them have been turned into really extravagant boutique hotels. Like much of the Islamic world, privacy is paramount. While street frontages are usually quite modest, behind closed doors, it's a different story. Riyadh is the name given to large old houses built around an enclosed garden. The Palais Amani is now a hotel. I hear you're the master at this dish.
Thank you.
And head chef Hussam is going to cook a rafisa using my fresh trid. To help translate is his assistant, Eunice.
So all I know about this dish is that it's like a festive dish.
So yeah, it's typically fussy one.
Yeah?
Husam's spice mix begins with pepper, turmeric, ginger, garlic, a splash of water, and some saffron powder.
Just a touch, eh?
That's
Yeah.
So is this type of dish something that you learn from home, or is it something you learn as a chef?
It's only from home.
Yeah.
Yeah, he learned it from home.
So you learned from his mum?
Yeah, from his mom.
Yeah, and does he make it better, or does his mum make it better? Ask him for me.
واش تمك لك الطيبه ما حسنتك الطيبه ما احسن.
لا ديما بحسن.
No, his mother is.
Mum always knows best, yeah?
A bouquet garni of coriander is added, followed by some gorgeous Moroccan olive oil.
What's he doing that for?
Saffron he just puts in there to be, to be more strong or,
What, to warm it?
to warm it and to dry it. It's like dry it or warm it.
So you're going to warm it on the lid
Yeah.
and then crush it in your hands? Really? That's a secret I didn't know. There you go. Must have strong hands. So then that's just like a slow cook now for an hour?
Yeah,
lid on.
for an hour, that's it. That's the time.
Oh, wow. So it's really reduced down and the chicken's
Yeah.
cooked, yeah? The sauce smells great.
Yeah.
Equal part fenugreek and lentils are added to thicken the remaining sauce. And now for the trid. Boiled eggs are placed on top, along with a spoonful of harissa, Morocco's favourite chilli paste.
So that's it, the dish is done.
So it's done.
Nice work. Nice work, chef, thank you. So I'm pretty excited about this dish. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks great and, tasty.
It's pretty soft, isn't it? That pastry on the bottom acting as a bit of like a mop, almost.
yeah,
It sucks
yeah.
up all the flavour. It's really good. Well done, chef. That's really good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
The rafisa is a surprising dish. As I sketch out my version, I want to keep all of the flavours and gutsiness. I just think I might have to put them together in a slightly different way. Chicken's been marinating for about 30 minutes. Turmeric, ginger, lots of crushed garlic and a little bit of black pepper. I don't want to entirely rewrite the book, so I'm using the same textures and flavours like lentils and chickpeas. But I'm dialling back the amount of fenugreek by half.
Cover it with saffron stock, which is just saffron powder and water.
And just like Husam's, that needs to cook for about 40 minutes.
And it's really, really soft now. So what I need to do is get rid of the skin, get the chicken off the bone, and get it ready for the next step. So some coriander, bit of sea salt, and some of the stock that we've cooked it in, just to moisten it up. Now, for the point of difference. That trid pastry was great, but I don't know anywhere here in Australia where we can find it. So this katifi pastry is pretty much just a shredded pastry, what I'm hoping, and it'll be crunchy on top and nice and gooey on the bottom. Some clarified butter or some ghee.
And rather than the chicken sitting on top of the pastry, my plan is to put it on the inside.
And in the dish. Now I'm going to keep doing that, leaving little gaps in the middle so I can pour some of that stock in, put it in the oven and get it baking.
I also want to freshen up the rafisa a bit. So I'm going to serve it with a side salad using my leftover pulses and mixing it through some lettuce, radish and harissa. And just like Husam, topping it with some busted up eggs. And with the rafisa now cooked, it's pretty much time to plate it up.
Beautiful. All those onions in there have caramelised, and that's the dish done. It's still got all the soul of the original dish, just tweaked a little bit more, and that's the one that's going to hit the menu at Maha.
The Moors were the medieval Muslims who migrated from Morocco to Europe in the 8th century. After an 800-year occupation of southern Spain, the Christian armies drove them out, and many of them found refuge here in Fez.
This is the Andalus Quarter, and back in the day when the Moors were kicked out of Spain, this is where they ended up, bringing with them new culture, new spices to this already amazing cuisine.
Every country I've travelled to so far in Spice Journey has their own unique spice blend, and Morocco is no different. For me, cooking with spice is like composing a song. You've got so many ingredients coming together to create the perfect sound. Here in Morocco, their sound's got a lot of bass, and it's called Ras Al Hanout. Ras Al Hanout translates as head of the shop. Like garam masala, it's a spice mix that changes from blend to blend, but with an unmistakable rhythm all its own. This is it, Ras Al Hanout. This one's really interesting. There's some great stuff in there. You know, we've got mace, we've got this really interesting Moroccan black pepper, there's cumin, there's cardamom, there's juniper berries, there's 35, 40 different spices in there. But the best thing about buying it in here is that you buy it whole and they grind it to order. That smells really good. Always, if you can, get your spice whole, grind it yourself. It's so much better. The Moors that returned from Spain to Morocco brought with them many new flavours and techniques. One dish that was a favourite on both continents was pastilla, aka pigeon pie. I'm heading to the Ruined Garden, a hotel and restaurant built around the remains of an abandoned riad.
I got the pigeons.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure to spend the afternoon with Chef Najia and her assistant Lily.
So I'm really rapt to be learning this dish from a master. Pastilla, it's the quintessential Moroccan dish, which is really influenced by everybody that's been through here. You know, the Persians bringing sweet and savoury with the sugar and the cinnamon that's in this dish. You know, the Arabs bringing the pastry that it's wrapped in. This is the dish that everybody talks about in Morocco.
Najia begins her spice mix with ginger, black pepper, cinnamon, sugar, turmeric and salt. Olive oil is added, and then onions, and more onions.
That seems like a hell of a lot of onions to pigeon. I wouldn't have put that many, so maybe that's one of the secrets.
What I'm really looking for is a new dessert for my menu, and I think pastilla might just be the ticket, minus the pigeon, of course. They've now been cooking for half an hour, and Najia adds a generous serve of parsley.
So those onions are really starting to smell good. You can smell a lot of sweetness coming out of the dish. And you can also smell the sweetness of that turmeric and the ginger. It smells awesome.
Moroccans love the mix of sweet and savoury, and Najia adds a whole cup of sugar to the pigeon mix and some cinnamon. It's time to put this pie together.
So that's a really good technique of putting all the pastry out. It means that there's not too much pastry on the top because you want to be able to break through it and have a nice pastry coating, but not too much.
A layer of almonds goes first, then our sweet pigeon filling.
Already this is heaps better than the one that I make. Normally I mix everything together and just put it in the centre and bake it. But I think this way it's going to be a little bit more, you know, complex of flavour. It seems to be a bit more layered.
Okay, good.
Good?
Good.
Yeah, it's good.
Yes.
No worries, thank you. I learned from the best.
15 minutes in the oven, and we have ourselves a dish.
Well done. Well done. Yeah. It's going to be good, I think.
Welcome.
Oh, that looks good, huh? That looks good. That must be my one.
Right about now, I'm feeling mighty hungry.
You first. Yeah. Ah, look at that. Well, I can't wait. There's lots going on in there. There's no real dominant flavour apart from probably the sweetness. You know, the sweetness is there, but it doesn't overpower everything. You can taste that really light game flavour of the pigeon, and you saw they were wild pigeons, you know, so they've got a really sort of robust flavour. It's really good. It's really good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pastilla is one of those dishes that's perfect the way it is. But what I really need, though, is a new dessert recipe. So if I keep the essence of the sweet and spicy pastilla, but mix it with another Moroccan icon, I think I might be on a winner.
You know, mint tea's everywhere in Morocco, and I thought with this pastilla it'd be great because I'm going to use some apple. Why not some mint? And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to make a bit of a mint custard, a mint tea custard.
I boiled up some milk infused with fresh mint, and I'm making a kind of sweet bechamel by heating up semolina, plain flour, sugar and vanilla beans. To this, I'm slowly adding my minty milk.
And once you can kind of not feel any grains between your fingers and it's soft, it's pretty much done. The grains are cooked out. Now, I've made plenty of pastillas over the years, but the one technique that I learnt when I was in Fez was a technique of sort of laying the pastry out in a rose formation. I'm going to use phyllo pastry.
I love the crunch in a Gia's pastilla. So after a generous brush of ghee, I'm sprinkling icing sugar, cinnamon and almonds, then adding an extra layer of phyllo.
I'm going to cut out 8 discs. Okay. Before I start putting this together, I need to make sure I've got all my ingredients. So I need to grab the mint custard. So it's gone nice and thick now. It's chilled. The other ingredient, some apples that I've just quickly sautéed, a little bit of butter and sugar, kept the skin on so they keep together.
Now, to layer my pastilla. I've greased the baking ring and I'm placing one of my phyllo circles in the bottom to form a base. And then I'm laying out the pastry, just like Najia did, in that floral formation.
And a little trick, that custard's going to stick to the spoon. So if you dip it in a little bit of the clarified butter and then into the custard, it'll smooth out really easily. We'll fold it over to seal it in. And that's ready for the oven. So what I'm going to serve this with is a Ras Al Hanout and date ice cream. Nice and crispy, smells great. You can smell the mint, you can smell the cinnamon. Slides straight off. Looks awesome, like a pastilla should look.
To finish, I'm sprinkling icing sugar and cinnamon all over the top and serving it with a quenelle of my spicy sweet ice cream.
And I actually want to taste it. I want to see how it comes together inside, so. Oh, yeah. And you can see that there's everything you could want in a dessert. And it's not the traditional pastilla, but I know it's definitely going to be tasty. That's pretty good.
The ultimate test, however, happens here in my restaurant. Table 3 have ordered the new menu. Dish number 1 is the Basara soup, which I've freshened up with some scallops and carrots.
Oh, it was a great way to kick off with the soup.
Yeah.
That just like intense flavour of it. Just a good way to start it off.
I'll take that as a tick. Second is the rafisa, which I've turned inside out from the original using that katifi pastry.
The heat underneath is what I love. Obviously, yeah, coming from that background where I love spice. Like
What's your
that.
background?
Indian.
Indian?
Yeah, so that heat like coming through was perfect.
And finally, it's not a pigeon pastilla, it's a mint and apple one, served with Ras Al Hanout and date ice cream.
That ice cream is amazing. I could have a big bowl of that and just sit in front of the TV and eat it all day. I've
Exactly.
scraped it off the plate.
Oh, awesome.